The crisis in Ukraine is continuing right now, and in fact, and unfortunately, it is escalating. There were just talks that went on between Kerry, and he's suggesting that nothing productive has happened, and unfortunately, he gave them until Monday to withdraw what they're doing here, to scale it back, to tone it down, and it doesn't appear to be moving in the right direction, I can tell you that. Russia said to ready for Iran-style sanctions in worst case. They're suggesting that they will put sanctions on just like they did in Iran, which I just received a report that the inflation there is near 50%. That would mark a hyperinflationary scenario. Even things like cars, for example, which decline rapidly here generally, are now considered an asset, multiplying year over year multiple times because the dollars are being devalued. So that is hurting the citizens. And even though they scale back on the sanctions, the actual individuals are worse off now than they were, for example, a year ago. So let me continue on. So they're saying that the sanctions that they would do are freezing Russia's foreign reserves, banking assets, and halting lending to companies. And this is, of course, just a worst case scenario that they say. But what will this do to people is untold, because just like in Iran, just like in many countries around the world, sanctions are never good for the people. Obama said something that I found very interesting, and let's take a look. So he said, we could find different arrangements over time, but it's not something that could be done when you have the barrel of a gun pointed at you. And I find it very funny that Obama's saying this, and it sort of triggered a memory. I was trying to remember, who said that now? Oh yes, that's right. Mao Zedong. Political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. So an individual like Obama, who has murdered U.S. citizens before, who has instituted the National Defense Authorization Act, authorizing himself to be a dictator, and going into countries all around the world, bombing with drone strikes, so on and so forth. And he's saying, quoting out of the Mao Zedong handbook here. That's very funny. George Soros, who is a criminal, who is part of this New World Order system, he actually said something that was true, and I'll get into a few things right now that he said. He said the Eurozone can handle a stagnation, which they appear to be heading towards for a long period of time, because they do not have this collectivism that they want. So let me get into what he said. Japan stating that, Japan has 25 years of stagnation, but they can sort of handle that because they're a single nation, but the Eurozone is a collective entity, and they are not able to handle this when, times are tough. And the Eurozone is supposed to be voluntary, and it's supposed to be equal parts, and everyone's supposed to get along, according to George Soros. What he said next was very interesting. He said that the Eurozone is about sacrificing sovereignty for the common good. That is a line that should be right in the New World Order's handbook, suggesting that give up your sovereignty and we're going to take care of you. Papa is going to take care of you. Mama's going to take care of you. Don't worry. That's what the state is for. Just give in to the supranational entities. Don't worry who's making your laws. You're so busy with work. You're so busy trying to feed your family. Don't worry about the political spectrum. You don't need elections. Just here, take your Mario Monti and enjoy. That's what this is. They're going to try to bring the Ukraine into the Eurozone. That's what it's all about. They're trying to get them on. They want every country into the Eurozone. They want this collectivism. They want a totalitarian system, which they've already set up. They have this Eurozone, the EU, making laws for countries, unelected bureaucrats. Of course, you've heard me harp on this many times. This is a joke, and they're trying to use this crisis basically to pull Russia away from the Ukraine. I'm not siding with anybody. I don't think that Russia has a right to do this personally, because it destroys their sovereignty, and sovereignty is the most important thing. Freedom, liberty, sovereignty, all of these things are what we are. Depending, whatever nation you're in, you deserve that right for your own freedom, and they're trying to take it away. They're not nobody, Obama and Merkel or whoever, are not trying to protect the Ukraine for the people. They're doing this, obviously, for their political agenda, and higher up than that, there is a much higher agenda than above what the politicians are talking about. Speaking of Merkel, I thought this was Adolf Hitler. No, that's Merkel. Take a look what she said, that if Russia continues on this course, it won't just be just a catastrophe for Ukraine, it's also going to be a massive economic and political harm to Russia. That is a threat directly to Russia. And Merkel is saying that she's got the EU on her back. She's got the US as well with Obama, and they are putting pressure on to the Russia right now. And this is going to be a big catastrophe if Kerry giving them until Monday, suggesting that that's it. You have until Monday to start backing this off, or we're going to have some problems. So I think that we could see some sort of economic sanctions take place, which would hurt Russia, perhaps not as much as Iran, but it would hurt them and could, and will, I should say, escalate things further. We do not need that. We need to scale this back fast. So if you guys should go over to the moneygps.com. This is the Money GPS Insiders, where you can get new information, basically the Money GPS 2.0, where I can get into further things than the YouTube channel. I can get into things I didn't get into in my book. I can break it down simply, and I can give that to you over the next years and years. And you can take that information, you can share it with your friends, and do what you will with it. So I hope you get on there and join the others. Take care.